Welcome to my sewing room. Christmas is my very favorite time of the year. And although it may not be Christmas when you're visiting with me today, I bet you a nickel it's about time for you to think about your Christmas sewing if you're like I am and would like to have it finished by Christmas. The first item I have just to share with you today, and by the way, all of these things are pure sewing machine, is a beautiful Christmas stocking with lots of embellishments, ribbons and trims, and the name is stitched in with the lovely big letters on your modern sewing machines. Another complete sewing machine stocking with the name and holly stitched in, all kinds of trims, and you know, one of my very favorite ways of stitching anything is Crazy Patch. Another really easy stocking to make with some little prairie points here. Once again, using your modern sewing machine, stitch in those names and just zigzag all of these trims down for an easy, fun present for anybody on your list. This little Crazy Patch, or rather, quilted stocking has a name on the top, all kinds of stitched in trims just right out of your sewing machine. Other wonderful gifts to make for Christmas, a pretty box with the lilies on the top, ribbon work, very, very easy to do. And I have another one, another beautiful box with beautiful roses on the top. Again, this one is done in more of the burgundy colors rather than the bright traditional reds and greens. Christmas time is a wonderful time to make a special dress for your child or grandchild. This particular dress is out of red velveteen. Oh, I absolutely love velveteen for Christmas, and it has some pretty Christmas trims. This is a very easy little dress to make. It's simply out of gingham, but isn't this cute for Christmas? And look at the little applique. It has the little holly leaves and then some little holly berries appliqued right on. Not only easy, but really inexpensive to make. And since you know I love smocking, I had to show you a couple of little smocked Christmas dresses. This one with Santa Claus and reindeers just going right over the rooftops. Oh, what an exciting little smocking plate. And my last little smocked dress to show you is this adorable little white dress with piping, a Christmas tree, and tiny little Christmas presents all wrapped up under the Christmas tree. I'd like for you to go with me to the technique boards. I have some really special and very, very easy ways for you to attach some trims to some special gifts for you to make this Christmas. Attaching trims is quick and easy. I have some really neat tips and tricks for you as far as attaching trims. Number one trick. Do you ever have a seam that you would like to hide? Well, it's very easy to just put a really pretty piece of ribbon of your choice, any color, and then use any decorative stitch on your sewing machine. Right here I have feather stitch, I have entredot stitch, and simply straight stitching. Rat tail cord is just a really neat trim. I especially like it because you can twist it and turn it and almost make any shape out of it. It's especially nice to use the zipper foot or the pearls and piping foot. On this one I've used black thread. That isn't too sharp. Let's go over here. I've used monofilament or nylon thread, and you really can't see it at all. Attaching pearls is one of my favorite things to do on not only Christmas items, but Victorian items too. If you will look real quickly, I have butted the pearls up against the finished edge of fabric, and once again using a zipper foot or a pearls and piping foot, I have zigzagged the pearls on. Here I have used the monofilament or clear nylon thread. Here I have used the black thread, which I really don't want to put pearls on with black thread. Now then, the piping I've put in here, the upholstery piping or the wider piping, has a seam allowance attached to it. So I simply insert it in between two pieces of fabric and I straight stitch and open it up, and now I have a really good looking piping inserted in between two seams. The last one I'm going to show you is really easy. It's called hot glue gun. And all I do is lay the trim down and glue it down, making it a very easy way to finish. The two threads I was talking about, in case you don't know about them, this is the monofilament nylon thread for your sewing machine in clear, and it also comes in a darker color for your darker fabrics. Now I have some really good tricks to show you using our quilt square for the day. What could be prettier at Christmas than a ribbon wreath? The quilt square for today is exactly that. It's pleated ribbon, it's wired ribbon with some pretty burgundy braid and then a gold braid tie. Very easy to make. I have some other tricks for you too. First of all, you can pleat ribbon several different ways. Since this ribbon is wired, can you see the little wire on that? I can just simply pleat this by hand. That's a very easy way to pleat it because it stays exactly where I pleat it. No fuss, no muss. There it is. Now, I used 2 of these on the quilt square. I pleated 2 of those ribbons, stitched them down, and then I'm using monofilament thread. I'm going to simply straight stitch on one side of the braid. This finishes up the decorative part. Let me pull the pin out. I don't know of any sewing machine manufacturer in the world that strongly suggests that you sew over pins, to tell you the truth. And you simply straight stitch it down to make the pretty wreath. Now, I have 2 more tricks to show you on how to pleat. Suppose, look here at this pretty lace. Suppose that you would like to make a more heirloom quilt square and you would like to use this gorgeous wide French lace rather than the ribbon. Well, there's an easy way to do it, and I'm going to use a credit card here to show you the first way to use this little pleater. All right, I hold it up and I stick my fingers, and no, I'll show you the finger way first. All right, I'm going to hold up the pleater and I'm going to take my fingers and mash the lace in there. I pick up another row, I take my fingers and mash the lace in there. Now let me show you the credit card way. It might be easier for some people. I pick up the row and the pleater and I use a credit card and mash it down. And if you want to keep it even, you can simply scoot it over each time to be sure you make it even. Okay, I picked up the row, I take the credit card, mash it down, and then I'm going to pretend like I have an iron here. After I make all of my rows of pleats, I take my steam iron and I simply go shot of steam right down on top of the pleats, lift it up, and then I remove the pleats. Now, can you see what I've got right here, this little tape I've got on the row of pleats? That will hold it. I put the tape down, remove it, and that will hold it until I get ready to sew the pleats. Here is another cute way of using the pleater pleats for a gift for your family, a Christmas idea. These pleats go all the way around. You can pleat in a circle or just turn them in a circle, and that makes a really cute little Christmas picture. Using a pleater, using ribbon that is wired, or using lace. Pleats make a wonderful trim, and you can use them a lot of different ways. Now, I would like for you to go over to the technique boards with me. I have a beautiful blouse to show you with some lace shaping, which is really nice for your Christmas sewing if you'd like to make some lace hearts. This will be a pretty blouse for you to wear to the Christmas parties. This particular blouse has some embroidery on the front that honestly I think is some of the prettiest embroidery I've ever seen. This is not silk ribbon. This is embroidery with floss, lots of bullion rosebuds, bullion wraps, and just thousands, it looks like, of French knots. The blouse has a really interesting back also. It has a really lovely lace heart and some pin tucks. Since this is a pink linen blouse, the pin tucks have been stitched with a pink thread. The technique I'm going to share with you right now, let me turn this sleeve around so you can see it. I call this the triple heart sleeve. I have 2 hearts laying down sideways and 1 heart in the middle with some pin tucks in the middle of that heart. Here is the way, hang on a minute, let me turn this around. Here is the way that you make this blouse. First of all, I trace off the front of the blouse and I trace on the embroidery design. Now, this embroidery was done by hand, so I'm not going to even pretend that that can be done on a sewing machine. Therefore, we're going to make the front of the blouse that way. Now, here is a sleeve. Do you remember I showed you the triple heart sleeve? You can probably see it a little bit more clearly this way. Here's 1 heart which lays down this way, 1 heart which lays down this way, and then 1 heart on top. If you will notice, I've stitched in dark navy blue thread so you can see. This is the wing needle entredot stitch that comes around here, and then I've shaped this heart to show you this side, and then the final heart is made and stitched on top. And it also has the double needle pin tucks that go right in the middle, and this is the sleeve of the pretty blouse I showed you. Once again, when you're shaping these laces, you can shape the 1 heart first that lays down on one side, the other heart that lays down the other side. Do you remember how I make lace lay down flat? I bet you do. I've stuck the pins in over here, shaping this lace heart. Hang on a minute, let me stick the pins in like this. I've already pinned it flat, but I'll stick it in just to show you. And this is a bit floppy. This is floppy, so look what's going to happen. French and English lace has a built-in gathering thread. I have pulled the gathering thread, and I want you to watch right here and see what happens when I pull the gathering thread. Hang on just 1 minute. I pull the gathering thread, and look what happens. The lace just lays down nice and flat, and then after I finish this, I will tuck this under the edge, and I will have my lace hearts all ready to go. Now the double needle pin tucks will go inside. I've got to do all the tucking, you know that. The double needle pin tucks will go inside this heart, and I put this little piece up here to show you. This was the cuff of the blouse. One more time, let me lift up this pretty blouse just to show you, and I didn't even show you the cuff, so let me pull the cuff over here just so I can show you how pretty the cuff of this blouse is. Next, I have a doll dress featuring a lace trim attached with a decorative stitch. My little doll is ready to go to a party in her pretty shiny Christmas dress. She has a lot of different trims on this shiny metallic looking plaid. She has a little candy cane with a little bit of holly leaves down the front. And of course, you know I have to put a little French lace on nearly all of my doll clothes. The sleeve is something I wanted to show you. To attach the lace, you remember we've been talking about attaching trims on this show. Instead of just using a zigzag or a wing needle entredot stitch as I usually do, I have used a beautiful bright red stitch just for the Christmas season. On down the skirt of her little dress, once again, I have used the candy canes and the lace, and I do think this combination of fabrics and laces is really pretty. Now, how do you attach all these trims? Well, I'm going to show you. This is the little organdy sleeve. I have put underneath this sleeve that I'm going to attach the lace some tearaway stabilizer. Anytime I do heavy stitching of any kind with a heavy satin stitch or decorative stitch, I always use stabilizer. So I'm using red thread, and I have my machine set on a really pretty decorative stitch. So I'm going to have so much fun, and normally I don't use red on white lace, but for Christmas time, what's wrong with using red on white lace? As a matter of fact, I think it's extremely pretty. This lace is an interesting one. It almost has little crosses and little spider webs and little stars on it all together. It really is pretty at Christmas time to do absolutely anything you want to do. As a matter of fact, you can do absolutely anything you want to with sewing any time of year. It doesn't have to be Christmas time. I believe I've stitched enough on this now for you to see how pretty it is. Let me just pull it out here and show you. See how the lace is attached with those pretty little red circles and hearts and circles and hearts and circles and hearts. All right, I have another little trick to show you. Let me see, I guess I'll just clip that right here. Okay. Attaching the lace to the edge of this insertion is a very easy thing to do, and actually we've been calling this Martha's Magic for many years. Let me tell you how it's done. I put the lace insertion on the Swiss fabric or on any fabric edge, and I leave about 1/4 of an inch of fabric exposed. In other words, the lace is right here and the fabric is over here, and that seems kind of crazy, but you just watch. It'll be just perfect. Now then, when I move down and begin to zigzag with a wide, tight zigzag going into the lace and all the way off the fabric, it rolls the fabric into the lace and makes a really tight seam. And as you can see, that makes a beautiful finish. I'm going to show you how it looks not in red thread. Absolutely makes a beautiful finish when you roll it in. And that is the technique I use to apply the lace to this candy cane insertion. Then when I'm getting ready to put it on the bodice of the dress, like this, all I do is either straight stitch or I could even zigzag to attach it. I next have a really beautiful silk ribbon embroidery stitch for you, the Bullion Lazy Daisy. I'm pleased to have as my guest today Kathy Brower. Kathy is senior editor of Sew Beautiful magazine and a real authority on silk ribbon embroidery. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martha. Well, I can't think of a more perfect Christmas stitch to show you than a bullion lazy daisy because it makes beautiful poinsettias. And today I have a silk ribbon handmade Christmas ornament to show you. This particular one has been embellished with gold ribbon to accent the gold beads in the center. But what I really want you to notice are these long lazy daisy stitches. Before in previous shows I've shown you how to do a regular lazy daisy, and they don't look much like this, but if you add a bullion to the end before you insert your needle, it gives you a nice long stitch. It's a really great stitch to use on all your pretty exotic flowers also. This is kind of a difficult stitch, so I'm going to go right to it and show you how to make one. Right here on the sample I've shown you how to do a bird of paradise. That I think is an exotic flower. And you can do all kinds of great exotic flowers with silk ribbon. Alright, first we'll begin like we do on a regular lazy daisy. We'll come up and we'll insert the needle in the same place that we came up in the fabric. Being careful not to grab our knot underneath because that would really cause a problem. Alright, I'll come up just a little bit and keeping my ribbon behind my needle. I don't want to pull my needle all the way through right now like I would on a lazy daisy. Instead, I want to wrap the thread around the needle like you would a bullion stitch. Once, twice, 3 times. You can do it 4 times if you want. I'm going to do it 3 times for this show. And then you'll need to hold the bullions with your finger on the bottom and your thumb on top and pull that through. And you'll have to tug a little bit and you'll feel the eye of the needle pulling through underneath your thumb. And you'll hold it down and pull it on through. And there you have it. So you've got a lot of space in between here. And when I pull this back, I want to insert my needle down at the end where the end of the stitch lies, and we'll anchor it down. I'll show you that stitch one more time over here. Hopefully I've got enough ribbon to show you to do this. Usually you can do about 2 of these before your ribbon runs out, and you've got to be careful you can only use about 10 inches of ribbon at a time because it tends to fray on you before you can finish using it, but I think I can get 2 stitches out of this. Alright, I'm going to wrap it once. Wait, let me get this right. Once and twice. And you want to keep your ribbon flat when you wrap it around the needle. Whoa, it keeps falling off. And one more time. See, this will happen to you when you do this too. So, I'll pull that through, like so. And there we got another great bullion lazy daisy stitch. It's a great stitch for all kinds of beautiful exotic flowers, and it's really fun to do.
Oh, Kathy, that is a beautiful stitch. Thank you so much, Kathy, for coming to Martha's Sewing Room today.
I enjoy being here.
And next, we have a really, really cute Christmas pillow. It's a star pillow. Although I've chosen this star pillow for the Christmas show, it isn't just a Christmas pillow. I think this is one of the cutest pillows I've seen in a long time. We've used a green and gold upholstery fabric. It's cut in the shape of a star. We have really cute little gold fringe and tassels around it. This side has stars in the middle. Let me show you the other side. Depending on the way you cut your pieces, you can have all stars on the back. All stars, that was kind of a pun, wasn't it? Anyway, we have little buttons in the middle. This is a very easy pillow to make. You cut your pieces, like I've cut these 2 parts of the star. This is cut with the stars in the middle. Then you fold it with the short sides together and simply straight stitch. I have 3 pieces here folded together, ready to stitch, and you can kind of look and see what it looks like, although I'm not going to take the time to stitch it. And you can see the star is beginning to be formed. Here is my final front or back to the pillow that is cut. I will make a back that matches this or front, depending on which one you want to call this. I will insert the fringe and I will sew around the braid and the fringe to trim it, and then use a really cute decorative button in the middle. Any kind of a gold button that you would like to use if you're using a gold fabric. And that makes the cute little pillow, which really isn't a Christmas pillow, but I thought it went really nicely with the Christmas show. Next, I have a really, really fun and easy to do craft for you. Today's craft, I think is one of the cutest Christmas decorations I've seen in a long time. This is a Christmas stocking, all filled up, and actually, you know what? It's a Christmas boot. It isn't a stocking, it's a boot. And it has all these wonderful crazy patch, trims you won't believe, with a candy cane and buttons and gold and blue and red and just really bright yellow. But on the top sits old Santa Claus, a Christmas tree, a Christmas clock, a little elf over here. Now, how do you make this? First of all, this is fake crazy patch. It really isn't crazy patch. It's glued down, which makes it super easy to make. Okay, how do you make it? First of all, here is the sole. Here is the boot right here. And you'll have the sole, but you won't do any crazy patch on the sole. There's not any reason to. Okay, here's my boot. I can lay pieces down any way I want to. Velvet, taffeta, velveteen, silk dupioni, water stained taffeta. Just pull it any way you want to and then stick a little plaid underneath there. Any size pieces you want to. And you say, well, Martha, that isn't crazy patch. You haven't stitched it down. You're right. I really didn't intend to stitch it down. I'm getting ready to glue it. I can trim it any way I want to and then glue it. Okay, so I will come along and I can turn these little edges underneath, or I don't need to. You know why? I'm going to take braid. Oh, I forgot my purple. Let me put a piece of purple down here. As soon as I glue all of this down, hot glue gun or fabric glue, I can come in and put my trims down. I will also glue them down on all of these seams, thus making this crazy patch really easy. Then I can come in with a few little trims. There's a cute little yellow reindeer, and then I make my boot. Now, what do I do next? I sew up the boot and go ahead and fill it. Well, and you're going to say, well, what do you fill it with? Well, one of the easiest things to use is clean cat litter. You know why? It is so heavy. And actually, when you start putting all of these trims in the top of the boot, I think you'll find the boot needs to be pretty heavy. Then here comes old Santa Claus. I'll put him in the top. And here comes the Christmas tree and the sled and the little elf and all kinds of little trims, which I will put in the top here and make my Christmas decoration to keep for a long time. Come on up with me to Grandmother's trunk. I even have an antique dress which has a hint of Christmas. I purchased this dress. I think I purchased it in England. I can't be absolutely sure. But when I got it, it had a little tag that said, White Christmas Dress. Well, I thought that was a nice name for the dress. Why they called it the White Christmas Dress, of course, the obvious reason it's white. But there are little Christmas trees embroidered in a satin stitch, embroidered by hand on this dress. It must have taken hours to make this dress. I'm going to pull it up this way to show you the skirt. There is a little peplum with this same hand-embroidered Christmas tree effect on it. And the little peplum just goes halfway in the front of the skirt, as you can see, and halfway to the back. And the same treatment is over here on this side. You know, I probably would not want to embroider these Christmas trees by hand, but I'll tell you what, I could build in this kind of embroidery on today's modern sewing machines, and I really could, with a little stabilizer behind my Swiss batiste, I really could embroider these Christmas trees probably pretty easily. And I've enjoyed knowing that I have this dress, and even though I don't, you know, White Christmas is just such a nice name, so I'm glad that I have a white Christmas dress. You know what, there was also a really sweet little sleeve treatment over here too. There was lace and batiste and lace edging on the bottom of the sleeve. And if you will allow me to, I'm going to pull up the bottom of this skirt and show you one more thing. The treatment of tucks. Always, always. In this case, there are 5 little pretty tucks on the bottom of my white Christmas dress. Thank you for joining me in my sewing room for our wonderful and fun Christmas show. I hope I'll see you next time.